big time I wanted to avoid maths for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I realized that because architecture is all about drawing, so I thought that this is only something that I can actually do. Otherwise, science and engineering is just not my cup of tea. I cannot do it for sure. So that was the reason I actually took up architecture, thinking that I will have to avoid maths. But on the first day itself, my dream got shattered.
Okay. Renderchamps, your child, not a product. It is
Yes.
also something like a vision. When I attended the class, that's what I felt. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining and welcome to the podcast series. At the outset, I would like to thank you for accepting the invitation to be a part of our guest series. And we are connecting with people from different professional background. So before I introduce you to the audience, I'm sure that some of them already know who you are, but still, we would like to listen to you. A brief self-introduction. Yeah.
So firstly, thank you so much for inviting me here. And let me introduce myself. I am architect Anshul Sinha. I'm an educator and founder of Renderchamps. And it's been around 14 years that I'm into teaching field, teaching various courses like design and teaching architectural sketching and rendering is my passion. And that's how I founded the Renderchamps also, which is a training academy for architects, interior designers, professionals, as well as various urban sketchers and
Mm.
sketching enthusiasts. And through the Render Champs, I also help them to overcome their fear of drawings, learn the concepts of perspective so that they can design and draw it confidently. So that's what I do.
Okay, thanks for that. So that was a big journey encapsulated or put in a short frame. Yes, anything can freeze your mind. So in our language counseling sessions, generally learners say, when I speak to new people in a specific language, my mind freezes. But I happened to listen or be a participant in your master class. Something that struck me was that a blank paper can freeze your mind, and it's totally relatable. It can freeze your mind, hindering your progress. So there are a lot of people who are not into sketching, who are not into even observing. This is part of human life. A blank paper can definitely freeze your thoughts and mind, hindering your progress. Would you please elaborate that?
Sure, definitely. Uh, Actually, many people feel that sketching is quite simple.
Mm.
Okay, it is just about taking a pencil or any medium and starting to draw. However, I also realized, and I personally faced this when I started my own journey of architecture. When I was given a blank page, my brain actually freezed. Now the challenge is though it looks so simple that we have a blank canvas to write on, to draw on, but actually when we look at a blank page, we get freezed. We are worried about whether I will make a mistake. If I draw, will that sketch look good? What if it turns out absolutely ugly or bad? Secondly, there is one more fear that if I don't draw properly, what will others, when they look at it, how will their response be? So, this constant fear of making it wrong, embarrassment, which we will get from others' response, is something that actually stops us when we look at a blank page. Many of us don't even know where to begin, how to begin, which is that first line that I need to draw.
Yeah.
I also realize that since our childhood, we have always been constantly pressurized that if I have to do something, it has to be correct, it has to be right, and should be done in a manner that people get appreciation. So, this constant pressure is ingrained in our subconscious mind. And whenever we are given a task to draw something, to do something, we are always burdened by this thought that if I have to do, it has to be good, otherwise, there is no point doing it. And this also is one of the reasons that we get stopped when we look at a blank page. Most often, we are into a blank page syndrome, and there's a bigger syndrome than this is the perfection syndrome,
Oh, yes.
which again comes from this childhood training that we have been always looking at, whether it is from the family upbringing, it's the school teachers, and the performance pressure that has always been there with us, that shows up whenever we take up this task of drawing as well. So most often when I start coaching, I always want to create or release this pressure that we are not here to make perfect drawings. We are not here to make perfect sketches. What we are here is to express. And when we look at some very good sketches out there, we create a benchmark that this is what I need to reach. If I have to draw, it should be like that.
Hmm.
And that also stops many designers to even scribble. So they lose that belief that even 5 minute scribbles, rough sketches using maybe charcoal sticks, soft pastels, sometimes those are very, very useful mediums.
Okay, right. Got it. So that was a good elaboration. I too feel that this pressure and force constantly interrupts the creativity in a person because we all communicate with people from the corporate field, not that they are not creative. And many people end up saying that I'm not so creative. There was a time when I drew on a paper, or there was a time when I spoke well. Once upon a time, they go to the story, but they think that they are not capable of it anymore. So, from your life or from whatever you have been saying through the classes, through your sessions and everything, I know that there was a turning point in your life. Every expert has got a turning point in life. Of course, you had some skills, but the ability to identify those skills despite whatever was happening around you. Now, this profession of being into the architectural industry is not new, but still, sketching, mentoring people in that is something different. It includes a lot of creativity as well. So, when was your turning point? When did you decide that I am going to pursue this as a profession and then maybe help out people because I have a greater vision in this?
Okay, thank you so much for this question because this gives me a chance to actually share something that most people don't know about me and why I chose to be in this profession. So let me just give you a couple of instances that happened. I was in fifth standard when I went to my friend's house. Okay, and my friend's sister was actually studying architecture that time, but I did not know what she was doing. I just knew that she is doing something. So I was there waiting for him in the living room, and on the dining table, I saw a very huge drawing board.
Okay.
So with a lot of hesitation, I actually approached that drawing board, and I saw because my friend's sister was not there in the room, so I went there and I saw that drawing board. Now the entire drawing board was having a backing paper. Backing paper is something that we put a blank sheet
Okay.
so that it just gives a firm backing to the entire sheet, the final sheet. So I saw the margins of those, the borders of those backing paper, and there were some songs written there. Okay.
Okay.
And that time I actually recollected that I've been there in the same living room where I saw my friend's sister actually drawing something while the TV was on.
Oh,
And sometimes she was actually listening to the music. So I was very, very fascinated with this idea that what is this kind of study where you can even watch on TV and or listen to the music.
okay.
Okay, the other thing that happened was that one day she was very sick, and my mom told me just please go and check her. She's not well, and she has final exams. So I went to her room, and the moment I entered the room, I saw that she was actually working with a model. She had very cute, this big model, around 6 or 8 inches model in her hand. And it was a multi-storied building. I think she was doing some five-star hotel building. It was her thesis time that. So though she was very sick, but she was committed to work for that project. That day also I realized that this study, whatever she's doing, demands a lot of hard work and commitment. And one funniest part that actually made me join architecture was I just knew that I can draw. I was I was okay with drawing, but never took any kind of training whatsoever. Did not do elementary, intermediate examinations also. I was very weak with studies,
Okay.
and big time I wanted to avoid maths for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I realized that because architecture is all about drawing, so I thought that this is only something that I can actually do. Otherwise, science and engineering is just not my cup of tea. I cannot do it for sure. So that was the reason I actually took up architecture, thinking that I will have to avoid maths. But on the first day itself, my dream got shattered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So because I thought because there is a course called Theory of Structures, which includes all physics and a lot of maths for the next 4 years.
Okay.
Yes, so that was the story of how I actually ended up doing architecture and how I came into mentoring or coaching, as you rightly mentioned, and why this vision I created is because In my first year itself, I was criticized, I was mocked because one day my senior invited me to help him in his thesis. So I went there and he told me, please render some perspectives for him. So I was doing it very religiously, sincerely, I was doing it. And our super senior entered the room and he saw those sheets and he said, ये इतना गंदा काम किसने किया है? Who's done this pathetic work? And then he started laughing
Okay.
and he was knocking around and I saw his face that time and I was completely shattered, disappointed, embarrassed. I thought I did not deserve that. I was doing it sincerely, but then this was not expected from that particular moment. So I went home very sad that day and I had two choices, either to do something about it or do nothing. And I'm glad that I chose the first choice. When I started teaching in architecture, I realized that there are many students who were just like me. They were struggling in visual communication, graphics, and that is when actually I started helping them by demonstrations.
Okay.
And when that happened, they started applying those techniques which I had
Okay.
mastered over a period of time, and then their presentations got better. They got some grades better
Okay.
and appreciation from the faculty. And that is when I realized that this is something that I would like to do. I would like to
Mm.
empower young designers, and later on, the vision expanded to even professionals
Okay.
because many people still want to learn this skill.
Observation is part of this. Whether you're taught to observe or not, I think when we look at the education system today, as you rightly mentioned, pressure and force is still there. Though we speak about creativity, I don't think many parts of our society and even the system encourages creativity to that level. So we have to find our way. So we are living in a fast world, and everybody wants things to be done within stipulated time, which is okay. But still, again, the pressure comes into existence. The power to observe, visualize, even imagine. Imagination, all these things are to be taught to the younger generation, and we all forget these things as adults. And every time
Hmm.
we as adults join a master class with an artist, we are reminded to do this. So, just leaving apart the architectural aspect, how does painting, sketching, fixing a frame help with clarity of thought, focus, visualization, observation, all these things? Because this is very important in any profession. And the saddest part is people forget. And that is when they begin asking, who am I? What am I doing? What's my identity? And they are in this identity crisis. We come across people like that. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, so observation, I think every artist will be talking about. And I see it from a lens that everything around us is a composition.
Yeah.
And as an artist, when I am observing, I need to observe not the objects, but the composition. Now, the compositions could be and will be of the elements of design, the
Okay.
simple elements of design like line, shapes, forms, light, color, texture. How are these being composed in the objects that I am using, the objects that are in front of me? So, from that point of view. And when I'm able to observe the designs of somebody else, maybe from the nature as well, or somebody else who has designed the man-made things, for a long time, after 300 paintings of watercolors, I was not getting the realism and depth.
Mm.
That is when I uh, took some help, and one of my teacher told me, Anshul, when you observe between your eyes and the object that you are seeing, there's air that comes. He just mentioned this. And when the air comes, there is something that shifts. The saturation shifts, the clarity shifts, and that is what was the main golden nugget, I would say. So,
Right.
yes, observation is the most important part of any artistic journey, I believe.
So, what I understand is your brain is constantly in action, thinking, making mistakes, learning from the mistakes, and using your senses. That may not happen every time consciously. You have to do it, otherwise, you will not complete. It's always making it better. How to make it
Yes,
better? It's an experience. Every page is an experience. Okay,
very
so
true.
coming to your journey, you have been a student, professionally, also, you're qualified. So, when we look at all these years, when we put it together, today we are living in the AI digital age. And many people consciously also say that AI can replace you. AI can replace your skills. And yes, we all are dependent on the technology. That is how we are connecting today. But still, do you think that mentoring, coaching, all these things can be replaced by the AI, super AI? It is happening. We have a majority of the population, not just learners and educators, who face difficulties with focus, attention span, clarity of thought. They don't know how to put it across, or they don't know how to even speak about their problem. And guidance is something that we all. Why did I join your masterclass? Because I wanted guidance. I wanted the right direction. So, do you think this is going to be replaced? We cannot predict the future, I know that, but still, what do you think in terms of guidance and mentoring?
It's a very, very relevant question, I feel, in this age of AI. On the other hand, I strongly believe that coaches and the mentors will never be replaced. We can never be replaced. I always wanted to become a coach or a mentor. And I every day when I'm waking up, I'm just ensuring that I become a better coach, because coach will always look at a person and his better version before that person actually becomes. Secondly, I feel that most teachers, especially I would say the ordinary teachers, there could be extraordinary teachers as well, but the ordinary teachers, they only maybe looking at delivering their lessons and leaving the classroom. Extraordinary teacher, a coach and a mentor will go beyond that.
Yeah.
And coach will always grill as well. They will show tough love as well. And they will look at that the performance is taken out from a student. Now, this quality, I don't think the AI can ever bring in. I also use AI a lot uh, to improve my own teaching skills, coaching skills. But that human intervention that is available when we connect physically, or maybe even in the online mode, but when I'm there with a student or a participant, I can I can still sense what he or she is going through. Okay,
Okay.
that emotional connect is there. I can respond to the expressions. AI is still responding only when we are interacting with it. And
Right.
I think that is
Yeah.
one of the major differences, unless something major comes up in the next couple of years. But I still feel AI is quite limited. That
Okay.
human intervention is very, very necessary. That emotions are completely missing, and that is why it will not replace.
Okay, right. Thanks for that answer. It was point blank, but still, I think it makes a lot of sense from your elaboration and explanation. Now, coming to the last part of the podcast, I would call Renderchamps your child, not a product. It is
Yes.
also something like a vision. When I attended the class, that's what I felt. You were also saying that I want to make this available at the, to every part of the society, or maybe to every learner across the country, across the globe. So when was this born, to put it in a nutshell, and what is it about?
Okay, so render champs, I actually, from the two words, renders actually representing the architectural visualization and representation. That's
Okay.
how we call it as rendering, and render came from there. And the vision was that I wanted my students to become champion in architectural sketching and representation. So that's champs comes from there. So
Okay.
basically the entire idea was, and the mission is to actually help architecture students, professionals, interior designers, civil engineers, sketching
Okay.
enthusiasts, so that they become masters in architectural or
Mm.
built environment sketching. So that's how it started. And it also started in 2011.
Okay.
I gave a demonstration in a classroom, and post that demonstration, there were around 10 students who came up to me and said, "Sir, can you teach us more? We would like to
Okay.
learn."
Right.
And that was the day that Render Champs was actually born.
Okay.
Knowing your background, I would be looking forward for any suggestions from your side, how I can improve and I can be better. Something that I learned from some of the best coaches in this world. I was actually very introvert, honestly. And this is uh, I don't tell. Sometimes I used to tell this in my previous webinars, but I've changed that format.
Okay.
But I was very introvert. Talking to two people was a public speaking for me. I was
Okay.
uh, very bad in English. I only did that landmark education course, and that's when I realized that what kind of communication barriers I had
Okay.
with my parents, with the English language also. And
Okay.
then I worked upon it, and now comfortable.
Yes.
So it has given me the language, English language. has given me a huge freedom, which I never experienced for 18 years of my life.
Okay, that's
And
great.
I was constantly pressured by that you don't speak in English, others are talking in English, all that. So my parents also kept doing that, but they never knew that there was somebody inside who took a decision when I was six year old.
Okay,
When my teacher told me to recite a poem and I could not do that, and she sent me back. And that is
okay,
when I decided that I cannot talk in English.
okay.
So I can understand when you said that it is a personal coaching that is required from your side when people have these kind of barriers,
Yes,
because it's not superficial to actually do something with it. It's the
yes,
hidden fears that when they get released
yes,
is when
true.
people automatically start talking.
Yeah, yeah. And that happens with adults, not that they don't want to learn. Children, of course, they are used to this academics and they can grasp. But when it comes to adults, it's like doing a surgery without spilling blood. And there are a
Yeah,
lot of people who come and tell me openly, ma'am, my English teacher stopped me from speaking in English. One relatable thing is anybody who's an introvert becomes a coach, I think. So, like, we hone our skills in such a way that we have fear, it reaches a saturation point, and then it comes out in the form of creativity or whatever it is. Thanks a
good.
lot for being a part of this podcast because I've been approaching many people and it's not very easy to find time, though they want to be a part of it. I know that you are a very busy professional, you're conducting classes. And one more thing is the way you communicate. I'm not giving any certification. I think that is also something that makes it very crisp and concrete to anybody who really wants to learn from you, a layman, a common man. People shouldn't be scared, thinking that, oh, you're from the architectural level. Will I be able to understand? So, putting something in the crisp form is a skill. So, that is why I thought of inviting you, and that's much needed today. So, thanks a
Thank you.
lot.